When people start working with you
Mhm.
to make their business better, what are your most difficult challenges at the beginning?
So in the beginning, what we're trying to do is figure out what are we aiming for? What are we trying to build? Now, to figure out what we're trying to build, we have to figure out what do we want our life to look like, which is something we rarely consider. And if I asked anybody who hasn't been asked this question before, what do you want your life to look like at age 62 or 65 or 50 or 78, whenever you decide you want to retire, or just 10 years from now? What do you want to be doing on a Monday? What does Thursday look like? Where do you live? Do you have a white picket fence? Do you have a cedar fence? Do you have a wrought iron fence? Do you have no fence? Like, what on your deathbed at 80 something or 90 something years old would tell you, I did it or I didn't do it? And this is one of the most difficult things for people is to dream, to be able to allow themselves to dream to achieve this thing that most of us have been told of our lives that we don't deserve or can't or whatever, right? So that's one of the most difficult things because we need our personal goals and our professional goals to be in alignment. So if we decide we want to build this big company, but we can't articulate what we would do with the money and time that this big company would afford, and we have really small personal goals, well, we're going to be constantly oscillating between achieving this big goal and achieving this small goal. So the first thing we got to do is get our professional goals and our personal goals in alignment. And the first place to start, another great book, Start With Why, I think is what it's called. Highly recommend it. Why do you want this big company? Why do you want to be a business owner at all? What do you want your life to look like in 10 years or 15 years or at age 62 or at age 50 or whatever time frame we put on things, you decide for yourself. What do you want that to look like? Are you going to have a house here and a house in Maui? Are you going to have a Ferrari in the driveway? Are you going to have 3 kids who are all in college with no college debt? And for people who are driven by things, cars and houses and stuff like that, this is generally easier than folks who are driven by comfort and security. So people who want comfort and security might say, I want 10 years of my salary in savings. Okay, well, that's not any less expensive than a Ferrari. It's just harder for them because they don't have these big things that drive them. They desperately want that level of comfort. And again, I would say, like, having a few $1,000,000 sitting in the bank is just as lofty a goal as having a house here and having a house on the lake somewhere. So
Scary though to try and to do that because you're almost putting something out there, a goal that then you're going to feel that pressure to achieve.
yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword because if you don't put the goal out there, like if you aim for a 9, you'll probably hit a 7, right? If you aim for a 4, you'll probably hit a 3, right? So kind of a double-edged sword. Like, we can just kind of bumble our way through, I suppose. I always kind of go back to what do we do in other things in life? I defy anybody here, anybody listening to this anywhere, make dinner tonight without deciding what you're going to make for dinner first.
Okay.
Like, good luck with that,
Yeah.
right? The only times we do these things, we just kind of bumble our way through, like we do in business oftentimes, is we might go for a leisurely drive. I'm going to go for a Sunday drive. Where are you going to go? I don't know. I just want to get out and about. I just want to go out and enjoy the nice day. Okay. The purpose, though, is not to get somewhere. The purpose is the journey. The purpose is to enjoy the nice day. So the moment you're in the car, you've done that. Like, you've hit the goal the moment you're in the car, and maybe arguably for 2 hours, I got my time of enjoying it. Okay. Other than that, though,
Yeah.
where else in life do we set out to do something without first declaring what we're doing? And I can't think of any things. Again, my favorite one's the dinner thing. Like, okay, just imagine going to the pantry and the refrigerator, open them both up. Okay, I'm gonna get a box of flour, and I'm gonna get some noodles, and we get some ice cream, some chicken or some chocolate chips,
That becomes
and
chips
some
and salsa.
hamburger.
No good can come
Yeah,
from that. Yeah.
like we would not do that. But that's how we go about business. And part of the reason is because, like you're saying, this pressure we feel of declaring this thing. Now, so how I help folks combat that is we don't etch this in concrete and let the concrete harden, and you can never discuss this again. You can change your mind many times between now and 62 or 65 or whatever time frame you set, and we can adapt to those changes.
Okay.
We just have to have a thing we're aiming for. Because if we don't have that thing we're aiming for, 2 things happen. We have dreams and aspirations of building a big company, and we have too much stress and frustration and aggravation from having a sizable company, so we want a smaller company. I want to have more control, which means I need to have fewer things going on so I can control the things. I want to have more freedom, which means I need a bigger company so I can be free from it and everybody can run things while I'm playing golf or fishing or whatever in Maui for my 2 weeks. So if we don't have a goal that we're aiming for, we oscillate. Some days, some weeks, I want freedom and we're going to build this empire and I can't wait till I have 63 employees and I can never be here again. I'll be in the Caribbean just hammering checks every month.
Sure.
And then the next Monday, you're like, that is too much. I need to shrink this down where I have 6 employees and we all know exactly what's going on and I can control every aspect of it so nothing ever goes wrong, and we oscillate. Well, if I'm gonna go from here to there, I have to go all the way through where I am now to get over here again. And then when I decide to oscillate this way, I have to go all the way back this way again. And we do all these sideways movements and we never move forward.
So it's like navigating a ship. You're gonna go from A to B, but you have to alter the course sometimes because it gets shallow or rough or there's a storm coming in and all of a sudden
you might decide I'm going to Puerto Vallarta instead of this other place.
Sure.
And you change course, and that's fine. We will change course and we will go there. We will have a destination. So the first 2 things we got to deal with are, what are we trying to build as a company? But to do that, we have to figure out, what are we trying to build in your life? Really hard for a lot of folks. Sometimes it takes a couple months,
Sure.
no question. But once we know what we're trying to build in our life, and then once we know what this lifestyle is going to cost, and we know how many years we have, now we have really good information to tell us how big the company needs to be. Because if I need to generate $475,000 a year to build the life I want, well, okay, I need to build a company that generates $475,000 a year divided by 40% in taxes. So let's say I got to build a company that's $700,000 a year in profit so I can pay my taxes and have $475 left over to fund this lifestyle. Well, I can identify what a $700,000 profit producing company looks like. Now we have a target.
Nice.
Right. But getting there is not easy. Once we get there, though, like, things become much easier. We can trust our decision making because we know this is what I'm aiming for. And here's where I want my role to be. I don't have to be the CEO. I could be the absentee owner. I could be the sales manager because I really like sales. I want to hire somebody else to deal with the financials and the HR and all that other stuff. I don't want to deal with that stuff. All this stuff becomes really clear once we identify what we want our personal life to look like. But man, is that hard for some folks. It's not easy. Like you said, you have the stress and the pressure of what if I don't? Well, that's okay.
Super important though. I can see that.
Super helpful. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
In all aspects of your life.
Yeah.